Welcome to the Modern Manifestation Podcast. I'm your host, Bre Brown, a business mindset coach, entrepreneur, and a top competitor in a male-dominated industry. I'm a native Texan, the youngest of all brothers, and a lettuce-hating, wine-loving, curses-like-a-sailor recovering perfectionist. I've spent over a decade building my commission-based career, and my life's purpose is helping other women achieve the same multi-six-figure success I achieved before I was 25. I have a passion for helping women with mindset, money, and manifestation skills to help every young woman realize her full potential. If you're looking for vulnerable conversations, professional development, inspiration, or even a kick in the ass to get you motivated, you have come to the right place. Thanks for checking out the Modern Manifestation Podcast. Now let's jump right in to today's topic. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in my first ever episode for Modern Manifestation. I wanted to kick off this podcast series with a little bit about who I am and what the Modern Manifestation brand is and the intent behind it. I'm a woman that's always been in a male-dominated industry, often commission-based industries, and I had a lot of learning to do when I first got into the business world, not only professionally, but personally as well. Growing up, I did not have any women in business as role models. I didn't have anyone to look to, and I would say the closest I ever had to a role model in business was Miranda Priestly in Devil Wears Prada, which, by the way, fantastic movie, so not complaining about my role model of choice at the time. And it was really friggin' hard to be in business as a young woman, not having anyone to really help guide me in all the questions that I had, not only about, okay, well, how do I pick up the phone and just call people and win business, but even questions I really struggled with, like how do you handle really tough conversations you need to have in the workplace? Or how do I calm down my inner critic? Or how can I tame my inner perfectionism? Because I had all these questions coming up because I didn't feel confident enough in what I was doing when I first got into the business world. So thankfully, I had the foresight to find myself a woman mentor in the industry. And I am so thankful that I was able to find her because she was phenomenally helpful for me in a lot of different ways, not only about talking about business, but personal and professional development. And she's probably someone that just really lit a fire under me when it came to diving into the personal and professional development world. I mean, this woman, there was no limit to what she was willing to coach me on. As an example, I'd been in the business for about a year or so, and she asked the question, where are you going shopping for your clothes? Not to be rude, but just to get some understanding about what I was doing and where my money was going. Since I was commission-based, it was a very fair question for her to ask because she wanted to make sure that I wasn't being irresponsible with my commission checks, especially as someone so young in the industry. Her intent was she just didn't want me to go and blow all the money on like the really nice name brand stuff, and she wanted to make sure that I was being mindful about saving just in case the market turned or whatever, right? So she was coming from a very, very helpful place. So she asked me, where are you going shopping for your clothes? And at that time, I was like, well, this is really embarrassing, but I will go to secondhand shops and get professional clothing from there. There were a couple of secondhand shops in Austin that provided really nice name brand stuff, and those were the places that I would go to in order to find clothes. And I would go to some of the other more notable department stores like Marshall's, Ross, TJ Maxx, all of those. And I would just look for the Michael Kors, the Calvin Klein, those kinds of clothes in order to wear to work. So I told her, I was like, well, these are where I'm getting my clothes. And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to take you on a quick field trip. And I just want to show you where you can be in whatever time frame you decide for yourself. And what's so funny is I've actually never asked her if she's into manifestation, but it would not surprise me because so many of the conversations that we had were very much down that path of manifestation. Anyway, I hop in her BMW and she drives me downtown. We get out of the car at this super nice boutique store. She walks in and all four of the store clerk women recognize her and they're just like, oh my gosh, welcome. They call her by name. They hand her a glass of champagne and they say, oh, we have your dressing room or your favorite dressing room ready for you. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? And they pull back the curtain and there are all these clothes and they're already picked out. They were like, we know your color preferences and your sizes, so we pulled a few styles that we thought you might be most interested in. And I'm just sitting here with my jaw dropped like, what universe have I just walked into? I'm sifting through racks at Ross, just elbowing people out of my way to try to find like a top that happens to go with these random pants I found 8 aisles over. This woman is walking into a store. They all recognize her instantly, have saved a dressing room for her, offer her champagne, and then have chosen all of the clothing that she might like based on her preferences. I was just so shocked. Incredibly different perspective and such a juxtaposition to how I was living my life at that time. So I remember walking over to the clearance rack while she was trying on her clothes and just determining what she was going to buy. And I found a top and I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something here that I could look at and at least keep me entertained while she's trying on clothes because I feel so out of place here. So I go to the clearance rack and I'm like, surely there's something here I could even consider buying remotely. And I look at the tag. It's a blouse. It's like a perfectly nice blouse. You know, it's, actually have no idea what it was made of. It was like white. It wasn't it didn't have any sort of a design on it. No print. It was literally just a white blouse, like pretty, but you know, it was just a work blouse. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm probably thinking, you know, $50 because this is a high-end shop and it's not a very special shirt, but sure, I'm sure it's ritzy. So I bet this shirt's probably $50. And I look at the tag. It was marked down from $9.50. The markdown price for this clearance rack, I'm pretty sure it was like $250 or $300 for this blouse. And I was just like, you gotta be shitting me. There's no way in hell I would ever spend that kind of money on a blouse. So I realized at that moment that my shopping experience was done. So I waited for my mentor to get out. She made her purchases. She spent, I think, $3,000 or $4,000 in that one shopping session. We go back to her car. She pops her trunk. We put it back in. We leave. And her comment to me was, do you know why I took you there? And I'm thinking, yeah, because you wanted me to know how much money you make, and that's really great. And maybe you want me to aspire to do that also. I'm not really sure. And she's just like, you know, I just wanted you to see and experience what life could be like for you if you just continue to work hard and do all the right things and keep asking all the right questions like you're doing. Fast forward years later, I am so thankful for that experience because it really did open my eyes to the potential of what kind of money could be had even by doing what I was doing in commercial real estate. So it was an extremely phenomenal and helpful experience for me. She kept mentoring me for years and years while she was in the business until she retired. And I was so grateful for her because there really were not a lot of women in the industry or in general that were willing to help me at the time or that were willing to answer my questions. Quite frankly, I did spend a lot of years doing the wrong things and having the wrong thoughts and really struggling with my inner critic and that self-consciousness. But she was phenomenal in helping me move through a lot of that, at least in the ways that she could. And I couldn't help but think, going through all this and looking back on it now as an older young woman, I don't know, I mean, I'm still not even 30, and just thinking, the whole process doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be that difficult. I didn't have to struggle as much as I did in order to get to where I am now. So after I started to get it right, I just really became passionate about coaching other women through the mistakes that I made, both in my industry as well as outside my industry, and really just trying to pay forward that coaching that my mentor had given me. And all throughout this time, as I was learning a lot more about how to be a woman in business and what that meant for me and who I wanted to be in this world of business, I was also learning more and more about manifestation and incorporating it into my life in all areas, not just business, but personally, relationships, etc. And I was really disappointed because as I got really excited about this information and as it was actually helping me with business and a lot of other things in my life, I couldn't share this new information because I felt my industry and the people around me were so closed off to this idea. I'm in the South, so there's still a lot of conservative, very religious people. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but my experience is that the people around me that are more conservative and religious have not been as open-minded or willing to discuss these more woo-woo spiritual ideas, what have you. And so I started addressing manifestation as well as business tips and coachings with other women around me just to see if there was anyone else. And I would kind of like drop clues here and there by saying a couple things and just seeing if they picked up on it. And it actually started working. I found out that there's this whole silent community of women who are really into manifestation around me, especially career-driven women that, I don't know about you guys, but like my perception of people that were really into manifestation, at least up until about 5 years ago, was that the women that were really into it were more spiritual, more so hippies, a little bohemian. I mean, it's not fair to say that those are the people that are only in the industry, but that's just where my perception was 5 years ago. So all of a sudden I have these deeper relationships with people in my industry, as well as just in my volunteer community, of these badass business women who are all really into this idea of manifestation, who are kicking ass, getting shit done. And I was just like, holy crap. I had no idea that all of you existed. Why aren't we discussing this more? And what I found is that women are so open to discussing it with each other, but it's like they're waiting for that other person to make the first move and to see whether or not they're actually into it. And it's like this secret society. I don't know. Not that it actually is, because a lot of people try to tie it to woo-woo, witchcraft, stuff like that. I mean, I think it's given it a bad rap. And that's unfortunate because I do have a lot of coworkers and friends that would be more interested in the idea of manifestation and will open more up to it. But initially they didn't because they thought the idea was bullshit. Or again, they thought it was a little bit too close to like witchcraft and magic or whatever it is that they thought it was close to. And I think a big part of it is just that the messaging and or the people that they were hearing from initially just weren't in their peer group or weren't people that they could relate to. And so it was harder for them to pick up and actually believe in a concept when the people or the person that's addressing the message just isn't someone that you're going to buy into. So that's why I was passionate about starting Modern Manifestation. I wanted it to be a way to address manifestation in a more modern way for the career badass woman or any woman, we're all badasses, who just want to get shit done in life, whatever that means for you, relationships, business, family, whatever being a badass is for you. I want you to have that. So I want to address manifestation in a way that is founded in mindset and development tools to help with the stigma. It does not have to be this positivity all the time approach to life. People that I've talked to about this idea before have been like, oh, well, you just have to be all love and light all the time and very positive and peppy and you can't ever experience negative emotions. And we'll get into that in a whole nother topic or in a whole nother episode about experiencing negative emotions. But that's just not true. That's not true at all. Yes, you are forced to have a very different way of looking at the world, but it's in a very good way. It's not in a placebo or aesthetic way where you just have this positivity all the time bumper sticker and that's all, right? It's not the super fake thing that people are just trying to project. It is a mindset change, but it's not one that has to be surface level. And as always, manifestation is nothing without action. So I really want to use these episodes to jump into productivity tools, like I said, development tools, things that are going to give you a boost in the right direction and really understand what manifestation is and how you can incorporate it into your life in order to help you grow. To that end, I don't want any topic for us to be off the table, but I want the focus of this podcast to be on personal and professional mindset coaching and development for the most part. Over the years, I had my mentor, but I also ended up spending thousands of dollars over the past decade just searching and working to become what I thought was the ideal version of myself or who I thought she should be. And I'll admit, I have 1,000 lessons to learn myself. I'm not going to get it right 100% of the time. And I'm sure I will have episodes where I will update it later and say, hey, actually, you know what? I changed this thought, or I'm now thinking that this is more consistent with my mindset. I plan to grow and learn with you guys, but I wanted to share at least what I've learned and continue to learn so far so that my investments can potentially help you and you can learn from the things that I'm trying to develop. But I wanted to share what I've learned and continue to learn along the way so that hopefully my investments can go ahead and help you as well in your journey. With that, I do plan to learn and grow with you and plan to dive into topics like obviously manifestation, money, perfectionism, anxiety. We'll probably even get into nutrition, vulnerability, etc. Like I said, I just want us to be able to talk about whatever is on our hearts and whatever you have questions about. So I can't wait to explore what this becomes along the way. Thank you so much for checking out my first episode. I really hope you click play on the very next episode. I am launching with 3 episodes. actually maybe more. So that way you guys can get a taste of what we're about here at Modern Manifestation. And I hope you guys stick around. I promise to listen to what you need to hear. So please reach out, say hi, let me know what topics you're interested in learning more about. I will put our contact information in the closing song. So that way you guys can, is it a song, is it an outro, whatever, in that closing piece so that you have a way of contacting me with any questions or topics that you'd like to hear about. Also, because we're a new podcast, and this is also mentioned in the outro, so sorry for the redundancy, but I would really appreciate it if you guys would leave a review or write a rating and subscribe to this podcast. And if you do, please screenshot a picture of that review. I know that iTunes, and I'm not sure how long the other platforms take, but it can take a few days for the review to actually go through. So if you screenshot it whenever you actually write the review, email it to me at hello@modernmanifestation.com and send it my way. And then I will in return send you my 7 tips for creating space for abundance as a thank you. Again, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. And until next time, go out there and kick some ass. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this podcast, hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with new episodes. As always, we would love it if you would share this episode with friends and family who could use the inspiration. As a new podcast show, we would really appreciate your honest feedback so I know what you like and what you could use more of. As a thank you for leaving us a rating, we will send you our 7 weekly tips to create space for abundance. Make sure you screenshot your review and email it to us at hello@modernmanifestation.com so we can send them straight to your inbox. If you'd like to stay connected, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Modern Manifestation, or you can head to our website at themodernmanifestation.com. Thanks again for joining me, and I will catch y'all in the next episode.